Palmer, and you're watching Extended Play.
Coming up on Extended Play, we come to you from the biggest gaming show on Earth, the Electronic Entertainment Expo in Los Angeles. We'll give you the news from the show floor, show you the latest in the Final Fantasy series, and show you how to be a benevolent god in black and white. Stick around, it's game time.
Hello and welcome to Extended Play from the floor of E3 in Los Angeles. I'm Kate Patello.
And I'm Adam Sessler, and this is turning out to be quite a show. We're looking at the first playable Xbox games at a show. We'll also have PlayStation 2 titles that show that the console really has gained its confidence. And I think the big talk of the show, though, is GameCube, with some absolutely beautiful games that just went on display.
Of course, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sega, Sony, these are all huge and established brand names, but everybody had to start somewhere. So we went to the last GDC and visited the Independent Games Festival and signed talent there. They were going to play, show off their wares, and hopefully find a publisher. Video games are big business. With $10.5 billion in revenue last year, the game biz is looking to blow out the film industry in total sales. Not everyone making games is riding this tidal wave of cash, however. In order for a game to have much hope of financial success, it needs to have a publisher promote it and put it on retail shelves. If you're a developer without a publisher, well then, you're an independent.
It's a multiplayer, real-time strategy game, but it's not like a lot of different games that collectively put together.
It's a multiplayer online tactical strategy combat action game.
It takes a lot of perseverance in order to formulate a game idea into a working title.
The funding's tough to get. We actually decided to go without any funding at all.
I use most of my evenings for a year and a half developing this.
Chase Ace 2 is a multiplayer 2D shooter that was developed by an independent Danish company with the unusual name Space Time Phone.
Well, it started as a test, and then it just kind of grew by itself. There's not many money in it in the beginning, and it's difficult to keep the spirits up when you don't see any results of all your hard effort. We hope to find a publisher, basically, and to make it as big as possible.
I think the importance of the independent game developer in our community, I think they are the heart and soul of this industry. We published Wolfenstein, the Wolfenstein series, we published Doom, we published the early versions of Quake. What we ultimately look for in game developers is the passion to make this game, the vision and the passion to make this game.
I had this vision about a game in my head, but wasn't sure, what it was, but I felt like something I wanted to do. And so I called Dave and I said, hey man, let's make a game. He said, okay. The next day we went to the coffee shop and just pounded out the idea.
The real-time strategy title Iron Squad from indie developer Gigantic Games had very humble beginnings.
Well, we started in my kitchen, right? And that lasted about 2 years.
Yeah, this guy's lived on my couch for so long. I was really glad we got an office. We don't have other people in the industry to say, you're doing the thing this right. We're just kind of winging it, but obviously we're doing something right. We're here.
One of the key roles of the independent game developers is to make sure the market feels the vitality of what can be done, right? They'll be more aggressive. They'll take more risks, right? They're not quote-unquote corporate yet. And they'll do something that someone says that's impossible because if they know it isn't, I know I can make that happen.
That's the spirit that allowed Ethermoon Entertainment to develop Stripe Shadow.
We founded the company about 2 years ago. I basically quit my job to go down this path.
Martin had an idea for a new multiplayer game and searched through the StarCraft community to find creative people who shared his vision.
We got 6 people on the team. I'm in Philadelphia. We got one guy out here who lives in California, 2 in Pittsburgh, one a student up in Boston, and then the 6th is in England. We've actually run this entirely as a virtual corporation. Here at the IGF in San Jose is the first time a lot of the team members are meeting. We do almost all our work online, email, chat. You got to have the stamina, the focus to make it all the way through. Because it's a long journey. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Adventurous indie developers are making headway with new ideas for PC games. We're seeing next-gen consoles become technically closer to PCs, so new opportunities are opening up.
I can supposedly, with the right setup and configuration, emulate an Xbox on my PC. That means that, I can sit there and, as an independent,
my budget for this game was $55. You know, I'm a PhD student. I work full time. You know, this is Friday nights for me. But I can still, you know, dream about developing for the Xbox.
With independent developers able to infiltrate the console market, the landscape of gaming could be revolutionized forever.
We know what indie movies did for Hollywood, so it should be very interesting to see what indie games are going to do for the mainstream game publishers. Now, since they're at E3, there's been a lot of news. The biggest story, of course, is that the GameCube games finally were shown, and they look good. If you want to see the entire Nintendo press conference, you can see that and game footage at extendedplay.com. But that's not all that's happening here at E3. Here's more news. Unlike the calendar year, which runs January to December, the gaming year runs May to May, kicked off by E3, the biggest gaming conference in America, and like any enormous trade show, E3 makes good with plenty of news and surprises. This year is no different. Nintendo was the star with the highly anticipated GameCube. The launch date is set for November 5th, with the retail price still pending. The GameCube titles making a splash are Luigi's Mansion, Pikmin, and Star Fox Adventures Dinosaur Planet. Microsoft is also making an impressive showing. They've announced the release date of the Xbox as November 8th. The retail price will be $299. Playable demos of long-awaited games such as Halo and Munch's Odyssey are giving gamers a chance to get their hands on the Xbox controllers. And like every E3, the show floor dazzles with titles people can't stop talking about until their release date. For more highlights from the show floor, go to extendedplay.com. Coming up on Extended Play, El Sessler rules over his very own island in our review of Tropico.
I'm Dale Hart Jr., and you're watching Extended Play on Tech TV.
Welcome back to Extended Play on the floor of E3.
Well, here we are at the Xbox booth. It's interesting, Microsoft didn't really have any new big surprises about the Xbox to tell here at E3, though the games still do look quite good.
Well, the one title that's been getting some good attention is Obi-Wan.
Yes, now that's a more serious-minded Star Wars game, although there's been a recent release that is more big-headed about the story.
Right, it's Super Bombad Racing. Okay, so it's not Mario Kart 64. Doesn't mean it isn't fun. Super deformity abounds in the Star Wars universe with Super Bombad Racing. This latest offering from LucasArts puts the cast of The Phantom Menace in a hectic Grand Prix free-for-all. It is also the first kart racer to be released on the PS2.
Bye-bye!
While Bombad Racing doesn't play as solidly as Mario Kart, the gameplay mechanics are dramatic enough to make the game interesting. Your racers aren't planted on the ground, so you'll have to adjust to a rather floaty physics engine. Each character has their own unique attributes, so be sure to try out all of them. Fortunately, the racers are not so radically different that the gameplay gets knocked off balance. And no kart racer would be complete without power-ups. In the case of Bombad, you have gadgets. These include frontal and rear attacks, force fields, and boosts. Every circuit features different settings from the Phantom Menace, plus each track has its own share of shortcuts, if you can find them. If you've grown up on Mario Kart, you might be too jaded to get hooked on Super Bombad Racing. But there is no doubt that this game is a lot better than the cookie-cutter kart racers of late. That's why we give Star Wars Super Bombad Racing a 3 out of 5.
Now, some of you may wonder what a Bombad is. It's making a sharp turn in the game by pressing both the gas and the brake at the same time. It's that or Jar Jar's word for cool. Now, speaking of cool, there's nothing I dream of more than being a dictator on a small tropical island. Now, it could be just me, but if you have had such fantasies of power, you can experience them in Tropico. Anyone who plays computer games knows that in the end, it's all about power.
Congratulations on your recent rise to power, Presidente. And might I add, you're looking especially powerful today.
But with Pop Top's Tropico, you get the added bonus of a lush Caribbean setting. At its heart, Tropico is a builder, where you, as El Presidente, must lead your people, or if you please, just yourself, into prosperity by creating a functioning island economy. Growing corn and pineapples will only get you so far. Your people need churches, markets, jobs, education, and you, of course, need a little extra cash on the side.
Presidente, I am glad to see that you are putting something away for yourself in Switzerland.
With careful planning, you'll have a budding banana republic on your hands. Comparisons to SimCity are obvious, but Tropico adds a refreshing dose of personality to the mix. For starters, you get to tailor your dictator by making him charismatic or a financial genius. But you have to temper this by giving him some flaws, like kleptomania or flatulence. Okay, so it's not exactly dripping with realism. Or is it? These character traits help shape how the people of Tropico react to your governing. And here lies the beauty of Tropico, the people. Zoom all the way in on the map, and you can see your nicely animated populace going about their lives. And better yet, you can click on any one of them and learn everything about them. Their name, where they work, where they live, even what they're thinking. And if you're not being as attentive to their needs, some young upstart might decide to run against you in the next election. Fortunately, El Presidente has his loyal armed guards to deal with such unpleasantness.
Rest in peace, muchacho.
Pop Top could have gone further down this road and simulated some of the darker elements, like town brothels and the drug trade, but the tongue-in-cheek attitude suits Tropico's sunny atmosphere well. And it's this personality and character mixed with simple but deep gameplay that makes Tropico a solid 4 out of 5.
Presidente, the people's hatred for you knows no bounds.
Coming up on Extended Play, we delve into the underwater world of Aquanaut and venture to the realm of Gaia in our extended preview of Final Fantasy X.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Lita from the World Wrestling Federation, and you're watching Extended Play.
Welcome back to Extended Play from the floor of E3 in Los Angeles.
Now, here in the Sony booth, there really aren't many surprises this year because the PS2 is already out. But what we are seeing are titles that are far more robust than at last year's show.
Well, let me think of one. Final Fantasy X?
Yes, I think that might be one.
Yeah, there you go. Now, we got a sneak peek of that at the Tokyo Game Show, but it was really cool when we had a one-on-one with Square. So, sit back now, relax, but don't blink, because you don't want to miss a moment of the beautiful Final Fantasy X. If you're looking for a synonym for hotly anticipated, you can't do much better than Final Fantasy X. The series is back in all its glory and then some. Tetsuya Nomura strikes again with heart-stopping and crush-inducing character designs. In a new twist, we can get to know the players better by hearing them speak. Hi! Meet Tidus, plucky hero and handsome devil. Now, meet Yuna. She's a summoner of Shin warrior spirits. Just take a look at the summons. Each summoning is breathtaking. Summoned Shin stay in the fight and stick around for a while to help. With the random battles you'll be facing, you'll need all the help you can get. Final Fantasy's journey in 3D allows you to take exploratory journeys of your own. With real-time rendered backgrounds, you'll want to. Everything is a sigh-inducing feast for the eyes. You can sigh over the Japanese version of Final Fantasy X in July, or pine away until it hits American shores in early 2002.
If you want to learn more about the plot and gameplay mechanics of Final Fantasy X, you can find it at the Extended Play website, where you'll also find a history of the whole series. Now, our next game deals with crisis situations. The world is blown up. Everyone has to live underwater. And it doesn't even end there.
Aquanauts is the new submarine game being developed by Fish Tank Interactive, and thanks to improved PC speed and graphics, the underwater world has never looked so crisp and, well, watery. The the game takes place in the future, after a nuclear war has forced all the survivors to settle underwater. A major landslide opens a series of caverns and frees the ancient gods that have been imprisoned there. Thus, the conflict begins. Players assume the role of a mercenary subpilot who battles human and monster enemies in his quest to save human civilization. Claiming over 40 different battlecrafts, 30 non-linear missions, and crazy underwater dog fish fights, Aquanauts is shaping up to be quite the adventure. The game will also feature both cooperative and deathmatch multiplayer modes. If you're getting tired of battling on land or in the air, watch out for Aquanauts, due out in the fall.
Now, if you're thinking that looks pretty, it's probably because Aquanauts is one of the first games being designed specifically with NVIDIA's GeForce 3 video card in mind. Now, we're here at EA's booth, and they'll be bringing you Harry Potter soon enough. But in the meantime, EA Sports Big has got something for you. If your idea of a game of hoops is a couple of quick pickup games of horse in your local park, you might be ready for NBA Street. Looking for a cool sports game to take your mind off the summer heat? Well, you can stop looking because NBA Street is coming out for the PS2. Emerging out of EA Sports' Big label, NBA Street is a rough and rowdy 3-on-3 street ball game taken to the extreme. Games are played to 21 points, and there's an accelerated shot clock that'll keep things fast and furious. Goaltending will be legal, so knowing how to shot block is key. Character-wise, you'll get to use NBA stars such as Kobe and Shaq, plus a number of EA Big originals.
Right, let's see what you've got then.
NBA Street looks to manhandle the basketball genre by using similar elements that made SSX such a big hit. This includes the use of outrageous tricks and maneuvers. Now, these moves aren't just for show. Doing tricks will fill up your trick meter, which in turn allows you to steal points from your opponent. So now you can look cool and win at the same time. NBA Street is scheduled to ship in summer 2001.
Coming up on Extended Play. Having problems with your newfound deity status? We have a strategy guide that'll stop your cows from kicking your pigs.
Hey, I'm Karen Duffy from Into Networks. You're watching Extended Play.
Welcome back to Extended Play from the floor of E3 in Los Angeles. I'm Kate Patello.
And I'm Adam Sessler. Now, when you have something as big as Pokemon, you're likely going to find a competitor. And in this case, it's also a mon or monster.
Now, this is Digimon, or the digital monster. And these are little creatures that digivolve into very powerful fighters. So let's check out the intro to their new game, Digimon World 2.
Miyamoto showed off a new game for the GameCube called Peakman, a game they say could be as big as Pokemon. Let's hope Bandai stays away from this one. Now, Black and White is a game where you play a god and you control a cow, an ape, or a tiger, but sometimes it can be a wee bit difficult because no one wrote a manual on how to be a god. So here's the strategy guide for a few tips.
Okay, it's a no-brainer. The Black and White, the PC game, where you play God overlooking the development of humankind, is a bona fide hit.
Thank you. Thank you for your mercy.
What's a little more debatable is how in God's name you're supposed to rule a game that has villagers being sacrificed, gorillas slapped, and cows kicking pigs. The most engaging and strategic aspect of the game for many people is creature management. With a little influence, the creature will do your bidding in helping rule the villagers and your world. The first thing to consider when beginning to raise your pet is which path you want him to take, good or evil. Just like yourself, your pet will form his own code of ethics, mostly by watching you and by what behaviors you reward or punish. Bad creature. Very bad. Do not eat the villagers. Since you have limited direct control over your creature, you should take full advantage of the leashes to help control its behavior. The leash of learning will speed up the rate at which your creature learns from watching you. Your creature will not only notice what you do, but how you do it, and even who or what you do it to. For example, if you want to train your creature to throw rocks at the enemy temple, show him and he'll catch on. Hopefully. There are over 16 different pets to choose from, ranging from apes to tigers and cows. Oh my! Picking one that's right for your style is important. The ape in single-player games is a good choice because it learns at the fastest rate of all the starting creatures. However, in multiplayer games, the tortoise seems to be the clear favorite, with its aptitude at managing villagers, plus its lightning-quick combat moves. You can choose to play the game focusing more on the needs of the villagers than your creature, and still be successful. This is because you can accomplish all you want with your direct intervention and with the skillful use of miracles. The only way to get prayer power needed to cast miracles is through villagers. Of course, what's the fun of being a supreme being without a ton of devoted followers? A good strategy for converting the simple-minded humans is striking the town with lightning. Make them suffer. Then create the miracle of rain to put out the flames. The townsfolk will think you are the best thing since sliced bread. These strategies are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the staggering levels of complexity and depth in Black and White. Just like your creature, you'll learn a heck of a lot just by trying new things out for yourself. And just like your creature, you'll probably learn the hard way.
If you missed anything in that strategy guide, don't worry. You can find it at extendedplay.com along with our Ultimate Fighting Championship strategy guide.
Yes, which seems very fitting for some reason, I don't know. Remember, you can also see the entire Nintendo press conference plus footage of the GameCube, the first game footage available at extendedplay.com.
Now don't forget, next week is our all E3 show. Everything we can get our hands on, we're bringing it to you.
But that does it for this show, so until next time,
game over.
Hey, this is Tony Hawk, Pro Skater. You're watching Extended Play.
Coming up on a special edition of Extended Play, we go to the biggest gaming show on Earth, the Electronic Entertainment Expo in Los Angeles. We'll show you Nintendo's new console system, the GameCube, the latest developments in Microsoft's highly anticipated Xbox, and run down the best titles of the expo. Stick around, it's game time!
Hello and welcome to Extended Play for the Electronic Entertainment Expo in Los Angeles, California. I'm Adam Sessler.
And I'm Kate Patello, and this year is a really exciting E3, what with the Xbox and the GameCube coming out this year, and on top of that, both companies have announced that the consoles are going to be released within 3 days of each other.
It's going to be a tough choice come November, especially when you also consider the fact that we've seen some very strong PlayStation 2 titles, as well as some must-plays for the PC.
Now, E3 is a crazy scene. We've got celebrities running around, skateboarders, costumes, but ultimately, it's all about the games.
It's been insanity for 7 years, and it's just crested one more time.
E3 2001. There were crowds, celebrities,
Video games are the big thing today, and that's why we're here.
and oh yeah, games.
I'm a hardcore gamer, so I got a lot of questions. I'm here at the place where you get the answers.
More than 400 exhibitors showcased thousands of new titles and technologies, including many products seen for the first time ever at E3. If that doesn't excite you, well, there was lots of free stuff too.
Would you like one of these? Giving away free t-shirts.
There were pro skaters,
It's crazy. It's sensory overload.
pro surfers,
Pretty amazing, all the stuff here.
and pro survivors in attendance.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, quite an event.
And here's a shock, Pikachu was in the house. There was the usual slew of highly amped sequels, as well as some anticipated originals. PC games were out in force, with new takes on franchises like The Sims and reliance on old standby genres like real-time strategy. The big excitement was generated by upcoming online games like PlanetSide. When push comes to shove, however, this show was dominated by the consoles. The battle of the next-gen manufacturers kicked off the day before E3 with press conferences from each of the big three console makers. Xbox and PlayStation showed off some new games, while Nintendo finally gave us a look at their GameCube and its upcoming titles.
Let me introduce you to our new baby.
We finally learned the release dates of both the consoles.
In the United States, on November 5th.
On November the 8th, in the North American market.
These companies seem bent on going head-to-head this holiday season.
And all the attention that's going to be spent on gaming this holiday season, it's just going to tickle the industry. It's going to be great.
I think you're going to have massive consumer confusion this year. It's not at all clear where you should spend your $300.
There didn't seem to be too much confusion at the packed Nintendo booth. Gamers had to wade through an ocean of onlookers in order to get a chance to play the GameCube and Game Boy Advance. Xbox drew a big crowd as well, as gamers got their first chance to actually play Oddworld, Halo, and other upcoming games. PlayStation's booth took up the most acreage this year, while showing more of the PS2's networking and online ability. GameCube was the big story of this year's E3, although Xbox and Sony showcased some impressive new games for their systems. It's clear the console war is far from over.
Now that ought to give you a good idea as to what this year's exciting E3 was all about, but you need to know more. You need to see video, you need to see interviews, which means you need to go to extendedplay.com. Coming up on Extended Play, it's a big year for Nintendo. We'll see what's coming to the GameCube. Plus, batten down your hard drives, there's a load of new games coming to your PC.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're watching Extended Play. It's true. It's true.
Welcome back to Extended Play from E3 in Los Angeles.
On Wednesday, May the 16th, 2001, gamers caught their first glimpse of the games for Nintendo's GameCube.
And boy, was there a lot to see. Usually people have pretty high expectations from the Big N, and this time, they delivered.
Welcome to Nintendo Country. It was here that the throngs of attendees got their first long look at what the Big N had up its sleeve. And this year, Nintendo had a really big sleeve. First up at bat was the Game Boy Advance. With its June 11th release date right around the corner, people lined up to see what kinds of games they would be playing. Judging from what we saw, expect to take a trip through Nostalgia Land. You got your Mario games, your F-Zero title, and a return to Castlevania as well. And then we'll be able to look forward to strategy, role-playing, puzzle games, and Banjo-Kazooie. Yes, there is a God. But the real story and the real crowds could be found at the other side of the booth, where attendees got their very first hands-on experience with the mysterious GameCube, a system that by most accounts is not as technically powerful as the Xbox. But throughout the show, Nintendo maintained that it's not about power, it's about gameplay.
When it comes to gameplay, the GameCube is the best machine in terms of the balancing and in terms of the power necessary to create the best games ever. Having said that, however, we're not just going to concentrate on so-called gorgeous graphics and gorgeous sounding games, because if we only focus on great pictures and great sounds, that will spoil the joy that is a very important aspect of gameplay.
And from the looks of the glassy-eyed gamers lining up to play, Nintendo did much to bring a sense of pure fun back into video games. In fact, the entire booth took on a joyous party-like atmosphere, as the people were relieved that Nintendo hadn't lost their touch.
I'm very glad people are excited. We are working very hard to introduce more and more unique and surprising games.
And it was the games, not the system, that generated the most excitement. Everything on the floor for GameCube was playable and quite polished. Among the titles shown were Luigi's Mansion, a surprisingly fun title that has Mario's taller, greener brother playing Ghostbuster with a flashlight and a vacuum cleaner. The highly original Pikmin mixes strategy and puzzle elements in an easy-to-play package. Star Fox returns in an action-adventure format, and to be honest, it seemed a little odd to see Fox without his ship. A new version of Wave Race is also in the works, and the water effects are absolutely stunning. And then there was Cameo, Elements of Power, a game that bears more than a passing resemblance to Shiny's PC hit Sacrifice. Look for this one to turn some heads as it gets closer to release. Other games like NBA Courtside, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and the now famous Rogue Leader were present as well. And down the road, the GameCube will add the action RPG Raven Blade and the can't wait for it to get here Metroid Prime to the roster. To say that Nintendo wowed E3 attendees would be an understatement. What happens come November is anyone's guess, but at this point, it's clear that Nintendo's got game.
Now, obviously, Nintendo's had some big, happy surprises for us at this year's E3, and we're sure there's more to come. Now, last year, Return to Castle Wolfenstein was drawing huge crowds when it made its debut, and this year, people are still piling up to look at it. But as far as the PC arena goes, there hasn't really been a big, huge surprise or shocker. However, with improvements in technology like the GeForce 3, you still don't want to underestimate the PC.
Yes, the old PC has brought us some of the most innovative games to date. But lately it's been overshadowed by the hype surrounding this year's new slew of consoles and games. And thus the question arises, is the PC going the way of the dinosaur?
No, I don't think the PC will ever die.
Millions and millions of people have PCs and they love games on the PC.
That's right, amigos. If you haven't gotten the message yet, the PC is still going strong. And that was more apparent than ever on the E3 floor as game companies showed off their new premier games. Everything from real-time multiplayer strategy games to first-person shooters, superheroes, teenage sorcerers, aliens, predators, wrestlers, soldiers, the Middle Ages, revamped board games, and trains. Some companies like Disney rolled out their high-profile celebs to draw in the crowd.
It's only $29.99 and it's out right now, so buy the game. You can have a great time.
And Infogrames' preview beta of Survivor cashed in on the latest television trend with its two newest stars.
Expect the worst and be prepared for the worst, because it will live up to it.
World War II-themed first-person shooters have become popular this year with such highly sought-after titles as Activision's Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Not your daddy's World War II. Want to show us the flamethrower real quick? There it is.
And our hat also goes off to Cornered Rat's World War II online Blitzkrieg, which hopes to recreate the entire Second World War in every theater of operation.
Massively multiplayer, up to 10,000 people in the same virtual world.
Not to be outdone in the massive multiplayer department, Variant Interactive comes out of the gates a-swinging with PlanetSide, a surefire hit with shooter fans. And Blizzard Entertainment gets huge props for its Diablo 2 expansion pack. Another one that looks to be a hit with kids and adults alike is Sierra's Empire Earth.
Can you fight people, go to war? Oh, definitely, yeah. With every kind of man-rendering weapon that's ever been created.
And if that's not enough destruction for you, be sure to check out Crave's new real-time strategy game, Freedom Force, which lets you create your very own 60s-style superhero, fight supervillains, and thrash a city.
It's good, clean, wholesome violence.
So there you have it, gamers, a quick look at some of the PC games heading toward a store near you. Coming up on Extended Play, the PlayStation 2 is out and about with a ton of new titles on the way, and Microsoft's Xbox revs up for release.
Hi folks, my name is Arlie Ermy, better known as Gunnery Sergeant Hartman. You're tuned to Tech TV Extended Play. Don't reach up and touch that dial because I will rip your arm off and beat you to death with a bloody stub.
Welcome back to Extended Play from E3 in Los Angeles.
Now, last year's E3, Sony got to be the big man on campus with their then upcoming PlayStation 2.
Yeah, well, so they don't have a big console coming out this year. That doesn't mean they're not making a strong showing on the game side. If there was one word to sum up the PS2 software presence at E3, it would be variety. PlayStation 2 solidified its image as the system for all gamers as developers came to the expo with titles from all genres. In the category of action games, Bandai came out mecha blazing with not one, but 2 Gundam fighters, Journey to Jaburo and Zeonic Front. EA's new Bond game, Agent Under Fire, showed promise, and so did State of Emergency, a unique title courtesy of Rockstar Games where you take part in a full-fledged riot against the man. In terms of adventure games, you'll definitely want to keep an eye out for Maximo. This hack and slasher pays homage to the Ghosts and Goblins franchise, giving it a next-gen 3D makeover. Blood Omen 2 and Soul Reaver 2 of the Legacy of Kain series both looked solid, and so did Devil May Cry, Capcom's next big survival horror title. But if the macabre is not your thing, you can always count on Solid Snake and Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. For the RPG lovers, Dark Cloud showed great potential and should tide you over until Final Fantasy X comes out in the fall. When it came to driving games, it was all about the sequels. While Gran Turismo 3 could hardly be ignored, many eyes also turned to Spy Hunter, a very exciting update to the classic Midway game of the same name. Wipeout Fusion's presence was a surprise. Sony America is still contemplating a US release, but judging by this footage, we can't help but feel optimistic about seeing it here. For all you sports fans out there, well, take your pick. You can look forward to the next slew of ESPN titles or get a head start on next year's Winter Games. If your motto is extreme or nothing, the X Games of 2001 will be your one-way ticket to Nirvana. You can take to the ramps in Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX 2, or try something more off the wall with the cel-shaded Yanya Kabalistya featuring Gawu. From Extreme Pro's EA Big, NBA Street looked like a surefire hit, with NBA stars doing it street ball style. And SSX got us drooling yet again with their sequel. Sony clearly has a solid hold of their software library, and since it's games, not specs, that count in a game system's success, Sony has positioned itself for a fighting chance as the console war continues.
I'm already seeing more platformers for the PlayStation 2 than I saw for the original PlayStation. And one of my favorites is Capcom's Maximo, which is the 3D version of my favorite game of all time, Ghosts and Goblins. The new kid on the block here at E3 is Microsoft with the Xbox. We've seen some stuff in the past, but their presence here on the show floor gives us a good sense of what's coming November 8th.
On November 8th, Microsoft, a company with little experience in console gaming, will start selling the Xbox for $299. 3 days earlier, Nintendo, the most established name in console gaming, will release the GameCube for $100 less. This isn't David versus Goliath, this is the clash of the Titans. Microsoft strove to prove that the Xbox is a console. Games like the lighthearted Mad Dash and the visually stunning Dead or Alive 3 are unlikely to ever show up on the PC. Even with 15 to 20 titles available at launch, Xbox still needs to produce that one game, that system seller, that will bring the droves into their local stores.
People are digging Halo in a big way. Maybe that's the number one box mover, I don't know.
Originally, Halo was thought to be the standout launch title. On the show floor, the unfinished game looked like a technically strong shooter, but seemed to fall short of its original promise of revolutionary gameplay. It seems that the biggest promotional possibility will be an odd one. Much as Odyssey continues to look strong in graphics and gameplay, Microsoft is clearly placing a lot of trust in it to get gamers to slap down cash for the Xbox. So the real question is, come November, what are gamers gonna buy?
You can imagine a two-console family, that you have a family-oriented gaming system, maybe a GameCube in the living room, where the content there is more family-oriented and more group-oriented, and then the older brother might have an Xbox up in his room where you can spend more time playing games like Halo, where the family might not want to have that downstairs on the TV set in front of 6-year-olds.
I'd probably buy GameCube and Xbox, and probably a Dreamcast for like $50 by then.
If Nintendo presents themselves as the makers of quality family games and Sony champions their cool, how will Microsoft define themselves?
We want it to be the machine that gamers really aspire to have, that really dream about, that have posters on their wall and think about it. It's not a Volkswagen Beetle, it's not a minivan, it's a Ferrari.
It's that image that Microsoft will have to develop between now and November 8th.
You can look at our awareness of Xbox in the target market, 65%. We haven't spent one advertising dollar yet.
And with $500 million available to preach the Xbox gospel, by fall it should be clear that Microsoft is in the game and in it to stay.
Coming up on Extended Play, Sega's gone cross-platform. We'll check out their lineup for next-gen systems. Plus, so many games, so little time. We'll show you the best of E3.
Hello, everyone. This is Dave and Mike from Yuba City, California, and we love watching Tech TV.
Hi, I'm Kelly Slater, and you are watching Extended Play.
Welcome back to Extended Play from E3 in Los Angeles.
Now, at the beginning of this year, when Sega announced they would no longer be supporting the Dreamcast, probably by the beginning of 2002, there were some very upset Sega fans.
You bet, but you know what? They had nothing to be bummed about because Sega is going to keep doing what Sega does best, software.
Last year, Sega, with their hopes pinned on the Dreamcast, had a huge presence at E3. This year, Sega was tucked away in a corner, hoping to downplay its Dreamcast debacle and concentrate on what's to come. Sega's new strategy is to work as a third-party developer and concentrate on games. And let's face it, games are what Sega does best. Sega will be releasing at least 30 titles on the Dreamcast this year, with sequels for Sonic Adventure, Shenmue, and Crazy Taxi. Sega has also announced partnerships with their once arch rivals Sony and Nintendo, as well as console newcomer Microsoft.
Yeah!
Nintendo's GameCube will get 10 titles, including Super Monkey Ball and Virtua Striker 3 version 2002. They'll also be porting the virtual world of Phantasy Star Online to Nintendo's new console. The Xbox has acquired Crazy Taxi next, House of the Dead 3, and Jet Set Radio Future. Virtua Fighter 4 and Space Channel 5 have gone to the PlayStation 2. Hugely popular sports titles NFL 2K2 and NBA 2K2 will be available for both the PS2 and the Xbox. And Sega's hoping to dominate third-party sales with their online expertise. Though Sega has dropped out of the hardware wars, they will still be a major force in gaming. With Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo trying to prove their console's worth, each will be trying to win over Sega's loyal fanbase.
Now, for those of you that are wondering about Shenmue 2, Yu Suzuki was at the Sega booth and said the game is near completion. Now, speaking of completion, most of the games we see at E3 aren't done, so we really don't know which are going to be the best when they're released, but we do know which ones we're most excited about.
Of the hundreds of games showcased at E3 every year, there are always a few that stand out in the crowd. So instead of trying to figure out what were the best titles this year, we settle on those games that make you go, Over at the Nintendo booth, the clear choice was Pikmin, an engaging title that initially looks too cute for its own good. Underneath it all, the concept of raising an army of plant monsters and making them do your bidding, with sometimes rather nasty results, is frankly irresistible. Several Xbox titles were also eye-catching, but Munch's Odyssey is still the one that'll make you stop and stare. It was quite playable on the show floor, and let's face it, we're anxious to return to Oddworld and play around. The PS2 had the lion's share of beautiful titles at the show, but the one that made everyone stop and stare was Silent Hill 2. The game is creepy and disturbing, and expect some good voice acting this time round.
See? I'm real.
Finally, PC gamers need not worry. There was some real innovation here, but in the end, we couldn't take our eyes off Sigma. It's a real-time strategy game without set units. Instead, you can invent your own by mixing up different animal species. So finally, we can see just how dangerous a land shark really is.
Now, one title we couldn't show you just then was Star Wars Galaxies, but it looks like it's going to be fantastic. But don't worry, we've got a full article for you at extendedplay.com.
And while you're there, read all of our in-depth previews of the games we loved here at the show.
Or if you want to get the full scoop on what Adam and I thought, join us in our chat Friday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Well, that's about it for our E3 show, but the year ahead in gaming is looking exciting, and you're going to see it here on Extended Play.
We will definitely keep you posted. So that's about it for this special E3 edition of Extended Play. So for the moment,
game over.
Now remember, there's more of the hottest new video games from Extended Play on TechTV.com. Now sit tight, because the screensavers are coming your way.